right, good afternoon, everyone. We are here for afternoon docket of first appearances. Is the jail ready to go?
Good afternoon, Judge.
Good afternoon, Mr. Romero. How are you?
I'm doing well.
Good.
Thank
All
you
right.
for asking.
This is the afternoon docket, Judge Josephina Miranda presiding. I'd like for everyone to please state their names for the record, beginning with representatives from the state.
Eric Linder on behalf of the state, Your Honor.
Brian Reedy from the Public Defender's Office.
And then at the jail, we have
Mr. Hector Romero.
Hector Romero. Thank you. All right, Mr. Romero, are you ready to go, or do you need a few moments?
I need a few moments with the one gentleman that's here, Judge.
Okay. Would you prefer
Just a few moments.
maybe we
Please
should
go on
switch?
to Mr. Reedy.
Yes, let's go ahead and take some of Mr. Reedy's cases then. Mr. Reedy, do you have?
I don't actually. I think I have one on the second look docket actually in North Broward. Miss Samantha McCucci. She's on page 7 of
North
the second
Broward?
look docket.
Okay. Is North Broward ready for us?
I just spoke with her, so yeah, there
Yes.
she is.
Ma'am, are you Miss Marcucci?
Yes.
All right, thank you. Good morning, ma'am. We're gonna
Good morning.
actually, it's afternoon. We're gonna go ahead and get started with your case here today. You're on what's referred to as our second look docket, meaning that you've been in custody for a short period of time, and they're asking me to reconsider your bond amounts. Mr. Reedy, you have anything you'd like to present on behalf of your client?
Yes, Your Honor, I do. I'm going to ask the court to consider releasing Miss McCucci on her own recognizance and order a custody-to-custody transport to changes in Pompano Beach. I spoke with the owner of this program a few moments ago. He's familiar with Miss McCucci, and he is willing to accept her at his program if the court feels that that would be appropriate, which I would submit it is.
All right, well, I had an opportunity to review her probable cause affidavit as well as look at, I couldn't find anything else regarding her background here in Broward County. It didn't appear that she had any other cases, but I did see in the arrest paperwork that she made reference to being from out of state. So, Mr. Linder, do you have anything regarding her background?
I can pull it up. If I recall, Your Honor, I do believe she has priors out of state.
Okay. All right, ma'am, understand you have a right not to make any self-incriminating statements, but I do need to talk to you about your ties to the community and your willingness to go to this program. Please don't talk about the facts of the case that you're here on today. I just need to know whether you've ever had any experiences with law enforcement in the past, other than here in Broward County.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and how long have you been here in Broward County?
Since January.
Okay, and is this your first time getting into trouble here in Broward?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and your lawyer's indicating to us that there's a program in Pompano Beach that would be willing to accept you for treatment and services. Are you willing to go there?
Yes, ma'am. I've been there for a while now, and my mom's best friends with the owner.
Okay. Does the state have any position regarding her being released to the changes program?
Your Honor, I have no objection to her being released without a bond. I would just ask that she also be supervised by pretrial.
Okay, and we don't have anyone here for pretrial.
They should be. Yeah.
They should be here momentarily.
That's all right.
Okay.
And that's, we don't have a problem with that, Judge.
Okay. So you had mentioned something about a transport. I didn't know that. I didn't believe that.
Based on my conversation with the owner, he's willing to come and pick her up from the North Broward Detention Center.
Right.
I'm going to ask the court to sign an order allowing her to be transported custody to custody to changes of Pompano Beach. I'll include the address and the owner's phone number on that order. It's just ordinarily the way we do things.
Okay, and I apologize. I could have sworn I saw some sort of an email that indicated that
They got to come and pick her up.
They're
They gotta
gonna
come pick her up.
That's
Okay.
BSO won't transport
Right,
people
okay.
anymore, but the owner of the establishment, Mr. Rob Buto, B-U-T-O, is willing to go and get her.
Okay, so it would just be a situation where she would not be released until Mr. Buto arrived?
That's correct.
Okay. All right, and we have folks here from pretrial release, pretrial services. We're gonna go ahead, we're on the second look docket, just so you know. Samantha, M-I-C-U-C-C-I. McCucci, yes, ma'am. I'm gonna go ahead and change her bond. It's no longer gonna be a cash bond. I'm gonna release her to pretrial release. with a special condition that she reside at the Changes program in Pompano Beach, and that she's not to be released until one of the representatives from Changes is available to pick her up. He did, and they indicated that they are willing to re-accept her. Yes, Mr. Reedy?
Yes, that's correct, Your
Okay.
Honor.
All right. Anything else regarding this young lady's bond status? No?
No, Your Honor.
All right, so ma'am, we're concluded with you. As soon as they come and pick you up, then you'll be released to them. You have to understand that a condition of your release is that you remain there, and that you abide by their rules, and that you abide by the rules of pretrial release. If you violate any of those rules, unfortunately, you will end up back in custody. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, good luck to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Good luck, Samantha. Make the most of
you,
this
sir.
opportunity.
Yes, thank you.
All right,
Have
we're
a
gonna,
good day.
you too. We're gonna go ahead and switch back to, and you'll take care of filling in the rest? If you don't want to, I'll do it after the docket, but I'm not gonna write it out right now. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and switch back to the main jail and see if Mr. Romero is ready for us. Mr. Romero, are you ready for us now?
Yes, Judge, we are. Thank you very much for giving me that time.
No problem, no problem. We're gonna start at the top of the docket with Carlos Cesar Cruz.
Yes. Mr. Carlos Cruz?
Yes,
Afternoon, Your Honor.
Good afternoon, sir. I've had an opportunity to review your paperwork. It appears that you missed a court hearing back on January 8th of this year. I do also see that the notice came back on the address that was sent out to the persons that posted your bond, which happens to be the same address on your probable cause affidavit. Are the folks that posted your bond your parents?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. What's the state's position regarding this situation here? Mr. Cruz, we need an updated address for you. Your folks have lost their $50 bond that they posted for you because we had the wrong address and you missed your court hearing.
In speaking with Mr. Cruz, he did tell me that he did move. So it's a different address. He didn't know that he missed a court date. Right now, Judge, he has the new information. He could update the court, and the clerks could update his address information. He could get proper notice. From what I see here, he has a court date tomorrow set, October 2nd at 9 a.m. Considering from what told me it wasn't willful, I don't know if Your Honor would entertain an RO so that he could show up tomorrow and deal with this case.
But I don't know that they'll keep it on the docket if I release him. I believe they only set it because he's in custody right now. What they'll end up doing is, won't they end up canceling it and then sending him a new notice in the mail?
That's my understanding, but sometimes I know Judge Malik has me give the information just in case for the defendant to show up to see if his case is still on the docket. So he said he's willing to do that, Judge. But
Okay, sir, do
I
you
don't
have?
know. You might be correct.
Do you have? I mean, I know if my mom lost $50 because I wasn't responsible and didn't make sure that I updated my address, that I would be really upset, sir. So your folks lost that $50. It's your responsibility while this case is pending to keep the clerk's office updated with your contact information so you don't miss these court hearings. And I don't want you to have to keep coming back and forth to court and your folks losing money. So do you have a permanent address right now, or at least a mailing address in the event that the hearing gets canceled tomorrow?
Well, ma'am, on the process of moving is when I got arrested, so yes, we do. I just had to get the address because we're moving to the address during this week's.
Okay,
So
so
it'd be, I did.
so you
I
have
know, like,
you have
the
another
number-
address?
I don't. No, this is where we're moving to. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, because this
we're moving,
isn't
this is the third time we're moving.
oh, it's the third time you're moving. Okay. All right. Well, this is what we'll do then. Does he have any priors?
Yes, Judge. 2016, battery on a law enforcement officer and disorderly conduct, and reckless driving in 2014. That was a breakdown from a DUI.
Do you have do you have the funds, sir, to post another monetary bond?
No, she does not, Judge.
Okay. All right, Mr. Cruz, I'm going to take a chance here that you're going to be more proactive in doing what you need to do to make sure that you can get to court on time, and you owe your folks that money. So you better make sure you take care of that, because they've lost that money. So go to court tomorrow. Who's his assigned judge, Mr. Romero?
I'm writing it down right now for
Okay.
him, Judge.
Your lawyer's gonna tell you where, it might be deleted off the docket, I don't know. So you need to go tomorrow, and if you are deleted from the docket, as soon as you find your address, what your address is, you need to personally go to the clerk's office and tell them your new address. It's your responsibility. Otherwise, you're gonna end up back in custody, and the next judge that takes you back into custody again may not be willing to let you out without some more money. Do you understand that, sir?
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay.
Judge, my only question is, I see it's Division MD. Which judge?
I believe it's Judge Solomon.
Judge Solomon, I'm
Solomon?
being told? I'm sorry, I don't know who's in which
No problem.
criminal division.
Mr. Lender, do you happen to know the courtroom number?
No, that I don't know. He can get information.
She's
at
on the,
courthouse.
she's either on the 5th or 6th floor.
Judge Mindy Solomon,
Miranda?
here at the main courthouse. So you show up tomorrow at 9 a.m.
Okay?
Okay? Be there early so you can look it up,
Can you hold
all
on
right?
just a second for me? I'll write it down.
Thank you very much, Judge.
All right, thank you. The next person we have on the docket is Anthony Muhammad.
Judge, Mr. Mohammed's here with us at me.
All right, very good. I've had an opportunity to review the probable cause affidavit. Good afternoon, sir.
Judge, at this time I'm speaking, Mr. Mohammed. He advised me he's going to be posting his own bond.
Okay, right now we have a bond of $100, and he's fine with that? Anything from the state?
No, Judge.
All right, so sir, we're gonna go ahead and maintain your $100 bond. Make sure that you appear to court, otherwise you'll lose that money, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
Sir.
Okay, next we have Justin McLeod.
He bonded, Judge.
Bond, okay. I'll find probable cause on his case. Next we have Jesus Barrazo.
He's here, present, Judge, at me.
Okay. All right, I don't know if anyone noticed, but I was a little confused when I was reading the probable cause affidavit because there's a reference to the defendant as Jesus, and then there's a reference to, throughout the rest of it, as to the name of Juan, and I'm not quite sure who Juan is. Am I reading this improperly? Or is this just a typographical error on the part
I
of the
believe it's a
police officer?
scrivener's error.
It seems to go back and forth between Juan and Jesus, because
I only see Jesus mentioned once, and then there's a few times where he's referenced as the quote-unquote defendant, but typically it's using the word.
The paragraph, I guess the fourth paragraph, it starts after the crash. I advised Juan that I was going to be conducting a separate DUI investigation. Jesus advised he did not have any recollection of the car. So it kind of, even in the same sentence, goes back.
Yes.
I believe it's a scrivener's error, Your Honor, because it describes him as, regardless of the first name, as the defendant, as the driver and sole occupant. So there wasn't another individual connected to that car that he could have been confused with.
I would be inclined to agree with that, Judge.
Okay, so you're gonna waive any defect at this time for probable cause purposes?
Yeah, I think, to make any other argument, I think would be kind of disingenuous.
So
So.
thank you, I appreciate that, Mr. Reedy. I'm going to instruct the state attorney's office, however, to reach out to this officer and make any corrections that are necessary here.
I will make a note of it, Your Honor.
Thank you. With that understanding, I do find probable cause on these charges, and right now it's set at a bond of $500 for the DUI. Mr. Romero, anything on behalf of your client?
No, Judge, he did tell me that his father will be able to post his bond. He gave me the name and phone number. I intend on contacting him right after court.
Okay, anything from the state? Maintain the bond there, Mr. Linder?
Your Honor, I just want to advise the court, Mr. Barroso has a pending aggravated battery with a deadly weapon.
And that's been filed?
It has been.
And what's that case number?
18-5386 CF10A.
And the original arrest predates the arrest on this matter?
Yes, Your Honor, you posted a bond May 5th of this year.
Thank you. All right, sir, based on the statement the information that was provided to me by the state, at this time, I'll go ahead and maintain that $500 bond on the DUI charge. However, because you have a pending charge that you've already bonded out, and one of the terms of that bond is that you have no new law violations. I do find probable cause that you have violated the terms of your original bond in case number 185386, and I'm going to go ahead and revoke your bond at that time. Your attorney will let you know how to advise your father regarding the posting of your bond, but that at this time I'm revoking the bond in the felony case, sir. Good luck to you. Next, we have George Joshua.
Mr. Joshua is here at Main, Judge, and he is approaching. Come on up, sir.
Good morning, sir. Good afternoon, sir. Sorry. So I have had an opportunity to review the probable cause affidavits that are attached to your paperwork here. I do find probable cause. There's also a matter that I cannot address, and that's the writ of arrest regarding any amounts that you owe for child support. So any inclusion in your bond amount, sir, would include posting the amount that you owe for that child support. I do have possession of heroin charge that is carrying with it a $1,000 bond, and the remainder, I believe, is no charge on these. Is that correct on the bond amounts, Mr. Linder?
Yes, Judge, it is.
Anything on behalf of the state regarding that $1,000 bond?
Nothing from the state at this time.
Mr. Romero, anything on behalf of your client?
Yes, Judge. As you can see, counts 8, 9, and 10 are due to child support. From what he explained to me, he and his girlfriend right now are very much basically living from paycheck to paycheck. He supports his household and his children. The children that do not reside with him, as you can see, he's in arrears. Whatever savings they have is going to go towards purging the child support. So therefore, considering that all his financial resources are going to be used towards child support, Judge, I'd ask you on count 1 to consider a reduction from a $1,000 bond to a $100 bond. It is a nonviolent charge. It's possession of heroin. As you are aware, Judge, the lab is backed up. It's probably not going to be filed in time, and then he'll be ROR'd in 30 days. So I'd ask you, rather than wait for 30 days and he's released, outright release, I'd ask you to consider a reduction of $100 so that him and his family could go ahead and post the purge amount on child support with the $100.
I'll consider that, depending upon his background, Mr. Linder.
And Your Honor, as far as Broward, he had a 2012 conviction for possession of firearm or ammunition by a convicted felon. He was placed on 3 years probation. There does not appear, I don't see any record of a violation of probation. Considering the nature of the offense, Your Honor, I don't have an objection to a bond reduction.
Okay. Given the circumstances regarding the crime lab, I believe, Mr. Romero, you're correct in that circumstance, so I'm going to go ahead and accept your recommendation and reduce his bond to $100. And that will also include the amounts that he has to post for the, in addition to the amounts that he has to post for the child support. So, sir, you need to post $100 plus whatever you owe in the back child support to get out, okay?
Okay.
All right, good luck to you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, next we have Desmond Mitchell.
He's approaching, Judge. He's here at Main.
Thank you. Mr. Mitchell, I've had an opportunity to review the probable cause affidavit. You've been charged with the burglary of an unoccupied conveyance. I do find probable cause based on the circumstances that I've read. Mr. Linder, can you tell me a little bit about Mr. Mitchell's background, please?
I'm pulling his history right now, Judge.
Okay. While he does that, Mr. Romero, anything on behalf of your client regarding a bond?
Judge, my
ties to
understanding
the
is,
community?
I believe that he has a clean record. He's a registered voter here in Broward County. He's 19 years old. He was working. Unfortunately, he lost his job approximately a month ago. He lives in Fort Lauderdale with his mother. His mother unfortunately suffered an accident, which now she's physically handicapped, and she's in the process of applying for disability. So from what he advised me, there's really no one that can help post his monetary bond. If the state can confirm, Judge, that he has no prior record, and I'd ask Your Honor to take that into account, I'd ask you to consider releasing Mr. Mitchell outright ROR.
Mr. Linder?
He has no criminal history. I would note, it appears that I don't know how much resources there are, but there are some. There's a bondsman present in court, Your Honor, on Mr. Mitchell's case.
Okay.
I would also note, I am a bit concerned based on the allegations. It does appear, based on the totality of the circumstances, that this was not an isolated incident on this evening in Plantation.
And what would the state's recommendation be on a bond?
Your Honor, I'd be requesting a $5,000 bond.
Mr. Romero, anything?
Judge, I understand if your honor is not inclined to give Mr. Mitchell an outright ROR, I'd ask the court to consider a $1,000 bond. This is a third-degree felony. He's presumed innocent. He's first contact with the system. So I think a $1,000 bond would be reasonable under the circumstances, Judge.
Mr. Linder makes a good point in the review of this matter. It does appear that there was a series of events that occurred that night. Given the totality of the circumstances, I believe that the state's recommendation is a reasonable one. And I'm going to go ahead and adopt their recommendation of a $5,000 bond.
Yes, sir.
Good luck to you, sir. Richard Baker?
North Broward, Your Honor. I'm going to be asking for pretrial release on this case.
All right, let's see. Mr. Baker, good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
I have had an opportunity to review the probable cause affidavit. I do find probable cause on the charges. At this time, the state, tell me Mr. Baker's background?
I don't see anything local. Michelle, do you have any notes if he has anything outside? Okay.
Mr. Baker, how long have you lived here in Broward County?
8 years.
Okay. Mr. Reedy, anything you want to let me know regarding your client?
This is his first contact with the criminal justice system, Your Honor. I'm going to be asking the court to release him on his own recognizance, subject to supervision by pretrial release.
I don't have an objection.
You don't have an objection to that? All right. Sir, based on the fact that you've resided in our community for 8 years, as this appears to be your first offense, we're going to go ahead and release you. However, you're going to be on something that's called pretrial release, meaning that you'll have to report to someone on a regular basis so we make sure that we know where you are and where to send your information to. I don't know. From a review of the paperwork here, it appeared that you may not have a permanent residence.
He has a friend's house he can stay at, Judge.
That's fine, as long as he has someplace to stay. But my bigger concern was making sure that you receive notices of your next hearings coming up, sir. Pretrial release.
I have a virtual mailbox that I get mail there.
Perfect. Okay, so we need to make sure that we have that information when you're released. And the pretrial services folks will interview you, get all your information from you, and then you'll be released to them. Is the state requesting that he receive drug testing?
Your Honor, considering he has no record, I'm fine with just standard pretrial.
Okay, so sir, we're just going to do standard pretrial at this time, understanding, however, if you commit any new law violations or if you don't report like you're supposed to, you'll end up back in custody. You understand?
Certainly, yes.
Okay, all right, sir. Good luck to you.
Mr. Baker, there should be a map to pretrial release right in front of you underneath the podium there. Thank you, Deputy.
All right, thank you. All right, next we have Pedro Alvarez.
He is here at Main, Judge.
Thank you. Switching over to the main jail. All right, thank you. All right, Mr. Alvarez, I have had an opportunity to review the probable cause affidavit. I do find probable cause at this time. Does Mr. Alvarez have a background, Mr. Linder?
I believe so. I'm just waiting for the system to.
Mr. Romero, his bond's been posted.
And Your Honor, the only thing I would ask in addition is just an order of no victim contact.
Okay, so Mr. Alvarez, since you're here, they're going to be releasing you shortly because someone's posted your bond. I also need to make sure that you understand that you're not to have any contact with the alleged victims in this case, either directly or indirectly. You can't go to their home. You can't try to call them. You can't try to ask them to drop the charges, anything like that. You understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
Good luck, sir.
Okay. Does that take care of our regular docket?
We just have a couple of resets from this morning.
That right, but that takes care of the
Oh, yeah,
regular
yeah,
docket. So we're
yes.
gonna go ahead and do the 2 resets from this morning. The first one I have here is Edwin Nesbitt.
Come on up, sir.
Okay, what are you gonna do this time?
Okay, what was the reason why this was reset?
Judge, he advised me at this time that we just want the court at this time to enter an order allowing him to do the SAP program.
And he's here on a traffic violation right now. What is this, driving while license suspended?
Yes, ma'am.
Correct, and he doesn't want to resolve the case.
Okay, and so just let me understand what you're asking then. You're asking for a non-monetary bond but still to be held, or just hold him on this $1,000 bond and also include the SAP program?
Correct, Judge.
Okay, All right, any objection from the state?
No, Judge.
All right, so sir, we're gonna go ahead and permit you to utilize the services of the drug program in custody while you're in there. You understand that you're still gonna have $1,000 bond, and you'll be scheduled for an arraignment to come before your assigned judge. Hopefully, you'll be in your program when you see your judge the next time. Okay?
Good luck, sir.
All right. Good luck to you, sir. $1,000 bond and a separate order indicating that he can take advantage of the SAP program.
Thank you. I believe
Yes,
my
Your
card
Honor,
was.
I'll draft that.
Okay, thank you. All right, and then the last one from the reset from this morning is Jordan Brown.
Mr. Brown is here present at Maine, Judge, which is, okay.
There's some notes here that Mr. Brown has a disability regarding being able to speak but can hear.
That is correct, Judge. My understanding is, I've been speaking to Mr. Brown this afternoon. He understands everything I say. However, he cannot communicate. He cannot speak, nor can he write. So, to my best ability, what I was able to gather is, well, first I'll let the court determine to see if there's probable cause or not.
Do we know if Mr. Brown can sign? I mean, do we need to get a sign? He cannot sign?
Cannot sign.
But I can ask yes and no questions, and there's a ability to respond yes and no. Okay, all right, well,
Correct.
we can at least communicate that way. So we have here a burglary of an unoccupied dwelling and resisting without violence. I haven't had an opportunity to review this. I didn't realize this was on the docket this afternoon.
Your Honor, I just wanted to let you know.
Yes, yes, sir.
Judge Mullica, and actually, I believe both sides agreed to this. Judge Mullica on the first count found PC for attempted burglary of a dwelling and took out the across county lines enhancement.
So that determination's already been.
Yes.
Oh, I see. You know what? I see that on her. I see that on her
yeah,
notes. Okay.
We just had an issue with getting the bond or release.
Okay. All right. So so Mr. Romero. So Mr.
I'm sorry, Judge.
No problem. So have you been able to ascertain ties to the community and the ability to make a monetary bond?
Yes, Judge. In speaking with Mr. Brown, he's been here his whole life, not working, gets a disability. He gets about $500 per month. He was living with his mother. However, he moved out, and now he's going to be living with his sister. He doesn't have the phone number to his sister, nor to his mother. And from what he advised me, even if he was able to communicate with them, he does not believe that they can even afford a bond.
Okay.
So, Judge, I'm going to be asking Your Honor to consider releasing Mr. Brown on standard pretrial release. Now, I haven't had an opportunity to read the PC affidavit. I don't know what was the location. I don't know who's the name of the victim. My understanding is, well, first, what's the name of the alleged victim?
Your Honor.
It's not listed anywhere.
And Your Honor, I'm going to be requesting that the order be no return to the property because as far as who the victim is, it appears there's an owner of the property, but it appears there's also tenants.
And that's my understanding. The tenant is his sister. He forgot his key. He didn't have the key to get in. And that's where, unfortunately, this circumstance arose. So the tenant is his sister, and that's where he would be staying at.
But we don't have a phone number to reach the sister at.
Correct.
And Your Honor, the only thing
And there doesn't appear to be any.
Your Honor, my only concern about that is it mentions that it appears the officer spoke to other tenants because it says the information from other tenants, they stated that they witnessed the defendant peeling off the tape to try and gain access to the window. You would think if that was the sibling of one of the other tenants,
Well, that does, you're assuming the other tenants they spoke to were tenants that actually resided in the residence versus other tenants in the apartment
Oh,
complex.
that was the impression I got, is that, because it says after speaking to neighbors, and I imagine, my interpretation, that would be other people that
Right.
reside there. The tenants are the tenants of that apartment.
No, I don't read it that way. I read it that the neighbors, the other tenants, saw him peeling off tape, trying to gain access through the window. But there's also a reference to a crowbar, so my concern is why would someone use a crowbar to get into their own residence, and how would you have a crowbar? I mean, at some point, someone's gonna have to try and contact the folks that were living at this residence, because they're the ones that are gonna have to say that this gentleman didn't have permission to go into the property. So, Mr. Romero, I don't feel right about that. I think a monetary, until his family members can come forward and say that he had permission to go in through the window, I'm not willing to do a non-monetary bond.
I understand the court's concern. At the very least, then, Judge, considering the circumstances, I'd ask for a very minimal bond amount. I'd ask at this time to consider a $1,000 bond on Mr. Brown's behalf.
And does he have priors?
Yes, Your Honor. The most recent history involves either prostitution or violation of county ordinances. In Dade County, between 2013 and 2012, he had 4 petty thefts.
And what's the state's recommendation regarding a bond?
Your Honor, based on the totality of the circumstances and that this allegedly involves someone's home, I'd be requesting a $5,000 bond.
I'm assuming, Mr. Romero, that if you can work up this case, your office can work up this case and try to send a letter to the residents and ask that his family, if these are in fact his family members, for his family members to come forward. You could always put it on the assigned judge's docket for a reduction in the bond. I'll go ahead and give you the $1,000 that you're requesting in the event that the circumstances that you're indicating are true. And that it was a communication issue with the officers, but I'm kind of half and half on this one.
I understand, Judge.
All right, so I'm going to go ahead and set it at a $1,000 bond. And you'll make sure that the jail has all the information regarding the communication issues, so that there's not any issues while he remains in custody, that he can't communicate with the officers. Is there something to make sure that they know that, so they don't believe he's being disrespectful or anything by not responding?
No, the deputies are aware, Judge,
Okay.
and from my indication, they have no problem communicating with Mr. Brown.
Okay, terrific, okay. All right, sir, good luck to you. All right, let's go ahead and we have the second look docket.
Correct, Judge.
All right, we'll go ahead and start from the top there. Alberto Nijborg. Probably said that wrong. I apologize for mispronouncing it.
He's here present, Judge.
Sir, the correct pronunciation of your last name is? Iborg. Okay, thank you, sir. You're here for a second look on a grand theft. I don't know if I was correct in my review of the of your background, but it appears that there may be an open case pending with potentially a warrant for your arrest. There's also a DWLS pending with the person with the same name, given the unusual name. I don't know that these are all the same people.
They are, Your Honor, and I'm going to ask the court to take no action. Judge Merrigan actually already signed a violation of pretrial warrant. He's currently being held no bond on that grand theft that you saw before.
Okay, all right. So, Mr. Romero, I don't know if you're aware of it or not. He does have this pending. Josepina's my first name.
I
Miranda's
saw
my
that,
last
Judge.
name.
He currently has a no bond hold, and I believe the monetary amount
signed it up
of
there.
bond on this present grand
I'll
theft,
do
I
it
believe,
again.
is $99.
So what are you asking me to do? He's already being held no bond by Judge Merrigan.
I see that, Judge. He's being held no bond, and I believe the grand theft that's here before you, I believe someone already drew on and reduced it from $1,099. I believe when I
The
looked
bond
at
says it's is it $1,000 bond?
I thought it's already a $99 bond.
Yeah.
Yes, that's true, Judge.
It is? Okay. All right. So I'm unwilling to change the status quo at this time, Mr. Romero. He's gonna have to stay in custody and see Judge Merrigan.
I understand.
Okay. All right. Next we have Castleberry, last name Castleberry.
All right.
Okay, thank you. Hello, I have here a second look for a petty theft and a resisting officer without violence. There was no paperwork on file with the clerk's office, and there appears, is there a division hearing set for tomorrow? There's a note on the docket that says that. No, I'm sorry, I'm wrong. I'm looking at the wrong person. You know, there is a division judge. No, I think I wrote down when I was looking that there appeared to be a division hearing tomorrow. Am I correct on that?
Check, Your Honor.
I don't see that. I see this afternoon's hearing, but I don't see anything for tomorrow.
Okay, maybe I was mistaken. I couldn't find any record on, is it Miss Castleberry? Is there any information that the public defender's office wants to let me know regarding Miss Castleberry's ability to post a bond?
I know that she cannot post a bond as currently set. I remember asking her about that the other day. Ms. Castleberry, were you able to come up with anybody who's gonna be able to bond you out?
No, I just wanted to know what she had in front of her.
You wanted to know what?
What she has in front of her.
When you say she, you're talking about me, ma'am?
Yes.
You mean the judge?
No problem. I just have some paperwork that says that you're on my docket for today. I have no paperwork regarding her underlying case, the petty theft.
It was Ms. Castleberry is accused of taking food from Publix.
Okay.
And then when confronted by the officer, she swung her right hand and made contact with his left shoulder.
Okay, that's the battery on the law enforcement
Right,
officer.
and then she got OC sprayed
Well,
as a result of that. And I think the state might want to.
No, there's some things left out. Yes, she first swung a fist and hit the officer in the left shoulder. She then pulled her left arm away and swung at the officer, hitting the officer in the right eye.
So is it your position you want to leave the bond as is?
That's what I'd be requesting. Do you have the report there on the computer number?
Do you have a place to stay, Miss Castleberry? I forgot what we talked about the other day.
Well, I asked you to have Rocco to represent me. Both questions you just stated was different, but I'm not here to argue.
Thank you. We don't want you to talk about the actual facts of the case, ma'am. Did you say that you have an attorney?
Rocco.
Rocco Marucci?
Rocco Law Firm.
With the Rocco Law Firm?
That's correct.
Okay, so the public defender's office is not representing you?
I do not see anything indicating that we were
Have you
appointed.
hired a lawyer and paid a lawyer to be here for you today? Ma'am, did you hire a
Yes.
lawyer?
That's who I want to represent me.
Okay.
Who already been in this case.
Has he represented?
Before the incident or whatever.
Okay, so that law firm has represented you in the past?
Not exactly, no.
Okay.
Ma'am.
And what's her, does she have a record?
Locally, nothing serious. I mean, she had a municipal ordinance, which obviously isn't serious. She did get arrested in November of last year on a failure to appear on that case. Other than that, she had a resisting without violence in Dade in 2013.
I'm unwilling to do a non-monetary bond. I would be willing to reduce it somewhat, but it doesn't appear that that's going to make any real difference in this case.
Well, I don't know if she has private counsel or not, Judge, but I'll represent her for purposes of this hearing if the court would consider maybe a $100 bond in light of the fact that she doesn't have an extensive criminal history.
But she failed to appear in a November hearing, so it hasn't even been a year yet. So that's my bigger concern.
I understand.
So I'm going to leave the bond as is, ma'am. If you want to hire your own attorney, you can. Right now, the public defender's office is representing you. Good luck to you, ma'am. All right, and moving down to James Hewitt at the main jail.
Yeah, James Hewitt is here. One quick matter. Mr. Alberto Nijberg, that was the gentleman that we addressed, I believe,
Yes.
2 clients back.
Yes, sir.
I forgot to make 2 requests.
Sure.
One, a phone order so he can access his phone contacts to contact his family and friends. And the second request is, would Your Honor, considering he's going to be here in custody, would Your Honor enter an order recommending he be placed at the Light program so he could do something while he's in custody?
That's fine. Happy to do it.
Thank you. All right.
You're welcome.
Good luck, sir.
All right, moving on to Mr. Hewitt.
How you doing, man?
Good, sir. Thank you for asking. I have a sale of heroin and possession of cocaine here. I didn't see the probable cause affidavit. Doesn't appear to have been filed with the clerk's office yet,
Your Honor,
or at least when I looked earlier today.
I don't know. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I don't know what the defense's position is. I can tell you he's already been ROR'd to pretrial with a GPS monitor. The fact that he's still in custody, I imagine it's because they haven't been able to verify an address.
And he advised me that is absolutely correct, and he has an address to give at this time.
Okay. So, sir, give us that address, and we'll try and get you released on the electronic monitor.
Okay, say it nice and loud.
6420 of Lauderdale.
6420.
North Lauderdale, Kimberly Boulevard. But on
You need to say the whole address, sir. 6420, what precedes
What's
it?
the street?
Kimberly Boulevard.
Kimley?
Kimberly. North Lauderdale, Kimberly.
She's. Is that a street you recognize? Okay. The pretrial officer here is recognizing the street that he's talking about in North Lauderdale.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
All right. We'll try and see if we can verify that. If we can. Who are you gonna be living with, sir? Who lives there?
My cousin Sophia Bradshaw.
Sophia Bradshaw. Do you have a phone number?
Yes, ma'am. 954 544 7721.
7721.
Can you call
544.
Stop.
Yes.
Spoke with Sophia Bradshaw, who stated the client is not allowed to reside with her.
Okay. That's not going to work, sir.
They said they contacted, I believe it's Sophia Bradshaw, and she informed me that you cannot live with her. So is there any other place you
Can
can?
you
You
can
need
you
a place.
call her? Yeah. Can you,
They called her, sir, and she said that you're not allowed to live with her. Maybe it's a restriction with the apartment or where she's living, I don't know, but you can't live there. So you got to either come up with someone else or we can do a monetary bond, but
I was gonna go to the shelter right here on Blunt Road. You know, right here down the street. You know, the Blunt Road down here, the shelters. They're right here, the shelter in Pompano.
okay.
That's why I be going there.
Mr. Romero, any suggestions?
Judge, he did tell me he's homeless and he's financially injured, so I know he cannot afford to post any sort of monetary bond. and from what I understand, I believe he's probably exhausted where he's going to be able to live, considering his cousin at this time is not willing to have him live there for whatever reason that may be. I don't know if Your Honor would consider releasing him on standard pretrial release, and Your Honor could go ahead and impose conditions such as, rather than the standard pretrial, I believe is calling in twice a week and reporting once a month, Your Honor can make him report once every week. That would be a heightened form of supervision, and he'd have to abide by it.
I noticed that he has a considerable history, but I also see that if I were to release him on what you're suggesting, Mr. Romero, that in the long run we might be better served that way, given the circumstances of this particular case.
Also, he just got out of state prison in January of this year.
I saw that. I saw that. But unless these drugs get tested in the next 30 days, he's going to be released on his own recognizance, is he not?
That is true, Your Honor. If it's not filed, if the drugs aren't tested, and if it was 2 counts of simple possession, but considering
But there's a sale.
it's second degree sale.
Okay.
Judge Maya, that's probably still not going to make a difference with the lab, and you're absolutely correct as far as your inclination. That bottom line, he's going to be released ROR under no form of supervision.
So what we've already explored the fact that he has no one to live with. So obviously the bond that he's being held right now is basically no bond because he can't go live with someone. So we have to at least change that to either a monetary amount or do him on pretrial release. So what's the state's position regarding changing the bond to actually reflect his circumstances? Do you want a monetary bond?
Your Honor, then I would be asking for the standard monetary bonds, which would be $2,500 and $1,000. Certainly, the public defender doesn't have to wait to the 33rd day before filing a bond modification motion in front of the assigned judge, with possibly more information than can be presented at just a first appearance or second look hearing.
Well, what's going to change? You believe that the crime lab is going to be able to test these drugs between now and then?
No, what I'm saying is that perhaps in the next 33 days,
He can find someone else to live with?
or possibly a treatment, somewhere he can go for treatment if there's a drug issue. My point is that for release purposes today, I think the aggravating factors, most notably his history and that he just got out of prison this year,
And he has no permit?
outweighs.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mr. Romero, any last thoughts?
Just rely on what I previously said, Judge.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and modify the bond conditions to $1,000 on count 1 and $1,000 on count 2.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you. Good luck to you, sir. All right, next we have Joshua Brocratic.
Joshua Brackhart, I believe, out of custody, Judge.
Okay. And then last but not least, Keith Vento.
Judge, he declined to serve as public defender. He's here.
Okay. Mr. Vento, before you say anything, please don't say anything until I have an opportunity to tell you that I have the right to have an attorney represent you at this and all hearings, and if you cannot afford an attorney, we could look into the possibility of appointing a lawyer to represent you. You indicated that you do not want the assistance of the public defender's office, so you have one of 2 options. You can go ahead and go forward and represent yourself and tell me what you want me to know about your ties to the community, or you can ask for this hearing to be reset to another time when you can hire an attorney. Whatever you tell me, please do not talk about the facts of this case. This matter is being recorded, and anything that you say can and will be used against you at all future hearings. You understand that, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so what would you prefer? Do you want to go ahead and go forward and talk to me, or do you want to hire a lawyer?
I can go forward and talk to you, ma'am.
Okay. Before you go any further and tell me anything about you, my review of your background and your history, I believe that you have an open case pending already, and that there may have been a warrant out for your arrest on that one. You do have an arraignment hearing scheduled for October 9th on that case. It's a charge of selling alprazolam, and now you have this DUI.
Possession.
Possession? Okay.
Just a possession.
Okay. understand, irrespective of that, when you were out on bond on that case, one of the conditions of your bond is that you're not supposed to have any new law violations. This DUI is a new law violation.
ROR. I was ROR'd, man.
I understand. Well, your ROR, one of the conditions of your ROR is that you not be rearrested for anything, and now you've been rearrested. So I have reviewed everything, and based on my review of everything, I'm going to go ahead at this time and revoke your bond, your ROR, in case number 189474 CF10A, and I'm going to maintain the $500 bond on the DUI. If
I could say one thing, ma'am, I am homeless. Every day I sleep in my car.
And that's it, and it does say that in your paperwork.
My car is an impound right now, ma'am, and I'm gonna lose everything that I own, and I'm gonna have to sleep on the side of the road with a little blanket. My car there was no keys in my car. My car didn't even start, ma'am, because the battery and the alternator are broken in my car. So, and I'm also on a suspended license, so I cannot drive. I just sleep in my car, ma'am. It was the same arresting agency that arrested me. There was 15 cop cars around me. I didn't do anything wrong. I was just sleeping in my car, ma'am. Please, ma'am, if you can just look into this case, because my car didn't even start, ma'am. I didn't do anything wrong. I'm gonna lose everything. My phone's in my car, my clothes, my shoes, everything that I own is in my car, ma'am. And right now, if I were to be able to, get out today, I could go get my car, and I can have build something, I'm just asking you, please, Judge. My car didn't even start, ma'am. The keys were not in my car. I was just sleeping in my car that night, like I do every night. That's it, Judge.
Okay. It's a compelling argument, sir. This is what I'll do. I'll consider your argument. I'll hold on to the my determination regarding the revoking your other bond on the ROR. Let me look at the other case and see what the other case says about what was your circumstances. You know you have a court hearing on October 9th.
Yes, ma'am. But on October 9th, I won't be able to pay my car. I won't be able to get it out. I can get to whatever court. I can do whatever. I can go on pretrial release. I'll do anything, Your Honor. I'll do anything to get out and get my car, ma'am. I worked. I spent two months on the side of the road just to get this car, ma'am. And I know that's gonna happen to me again. You've given me a reason to second think this. Let me look at some paperwork. Why don't you have a seat for a moment and let me take a look at your paperwork, and I'll consider it. Okay? Is there anyone else that I need to talk to while I reconsider Mr. Vento's case?
Sorry, Your Honor?
Are there any other cases?
For Mr. Vento?
Yeah, other than Mr. Vento. Have I hit everything or no?
Oh, no, we have other.
We have this other. There's a few more second looks.
A few more second looks, some motions to release, and.
Okay, all right. All right, where did we leave off? We have Brandon Ben David.
Conte, Your Honor.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Ben David, good afternoon, sir. So what is...
This is a motion to release, Judge. And, the state has not filed an information at this time. He is entitled to an ROR.
Mr. Ben David is on page 4 of our docket. Mr. Ben David, it appears that the state has not tested your drugs the drugs that were a part of this case at this time, and so they have not filed formal charges against you. So I'm gonna go ahead and this time, with no choice in the matter, go ahead and release you on your own recognizance, meaning that you're entitled to be released. Understand, however, that even though I'm releasing you today, does not mean that the state won't ultimately test those drugs. And that they could potentially file charges against you in the future. So you just want to be on the lookout for any notices from the court that you got a hearing coming up, okay?
Okay,
All right, good luck to you, sir.
thank you.
All right, who's next? Can you push the other one closer to me? Oops. All right. All right. Next we have Alan Carr. Alanin Carr. What station? Station? Listen to me. What
Alan Carr is here at Maine, Judge.
Maine. Okay, thank you.
I'm sorry about that, Judge. And after we're done, Mr. Alan Carr, I'm trying to see if we can go back and readdress Mr. James Hewitt's case.
Okay. Mr. Carr is here on a motion for release.
Correct, Judge.
Your Honor, the state has not filed an information at this time. He is entitled to an ROR.
All right, so Mr. Carr, they have not tested the drugs that are a part of this case, so therefore they have not filed any formal charges against you. You're entitled to a release on your own recognizance. There will be no conditions on your release, but there is the possibility in the future that they may file charges against you, okay? All right, good luck to you, sir.
Thanks.
You need a question?
Judge, his question is, my understanding has another matter holding him. I believe it's 189428 CF10A. It's a grand theft in which I believe he has a $999 bond. So what I told him is, if the state didn't file, he was to be released ROR, he could then post that monetary amount as far as the $999 in order to be released. That's when I looked in the system, and he wanted to verify if that was correct or not.
That's correct.
It's correct.
I get 10% on that, right?
Oh,
If you get a
talk to
bondsman,
right
you have to
now.
talk to a bondsman, okay?
All right, thank you.
All right, good luck to you.
It's not $99.99.
All right, you indicated that you wanted to go back to Mr. Hewitt.
In one moment, I'm still trying to find a solution.
Okay. So let's see, what else have we not done? Mitchum John on page 4.
All right, Your Honor.
Thank you. Okay. Hello, sir.
Hello.
You are here on a release on the own recognizance. There's a robbery, no weapon, no firearm, no weapon, and a trespass. Is the state filed?
Your Honor,
Or wait, hang on, sir. We'll let you know in a moment.
Yes, ma'am.
state has not filed an information at this time, Your Honor. He is entitled to release.
All right, so sir, it appears that the state attorney's office has not filed any formal charges against you. The time has run for them to do so, so you're entitled to a release on your own recognizance. It means that you'll be released from custody without any kind of monetary bond or any conditions on you. However, that doesn't mean that this case might not come back in the future and that they'll be filing charges against you. You understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, all right, good luck to you, sir.
And Judge, whenever you're ready, I'm ready to go back on Mr. James Hewitt.
Okay, we'll switch back to the main jail. What can I do for Mr. Hewitt?
Judge, I was having a conversation with Mr. Hewitt. We were getting to know each other, and he gave me all these different information. What we managed to do is I contacted his initial cousin that pretrial said couldn't stay with him. So I contacted her, had a conversation. He does have family, specifically his brother Dennis, that lives here in Broward County. I just got off the phone with Dennis, explained the situation to him as far as being able to be stay with him so that he could be supervised on pretrial. Dennis did right now give me permission. He will allow his brother to stay, and I did get his phone number so pretrial can verify it themselves and go through the right proper channels. So I'm going to be asking you to go ahead and put back the, Elmo on Mr. Hewitt.
Okay. Before we go to this, did Mr. Romero find out from this brother if the place where he resides, if it's his residence or if it's someone else's name, or if it's in someone else's name?
Can you hear her? She's indicating that it needs to actually be his residence in order to release him to that.
Yeah.
It's his
I
residence?
didn't ask that specific question, but I have his, name and phone number, and pretrial can verify that information.
Can we do something else? I mean, I'll give her the information to verify. Can we put it on as an alternative, one or the other, as part of his bond?
It could be the $2,000 bond, slash pending pretrial release confirmation. But I think with the level 2 Elmo, pretrial will go ahead and explain to you how maybe that's not gonna be possible.
Okay.
Yeah, because usually with, it's either gonna be the GPS or the bond.
Okay. Well, I'm not doing both. What I'm saying is if this one falls by the wayside as well, I don't want him to have to come back to court again. He'll still have the monetary bond. Can we do that?
Confinement status, he can't, right?
Hewitt. Give us the information while we're discussing this, and we'll do the whatever paperwork is necessary, but we'll try.
Thank you. Dennis Hewitt.
Dennis
Hewitt.
Okay.
And his phone number is 954
954
667
667
2864.
2864. Okay. We will try and contact Mr. Hewitt and see if we can verify that address and verify. And if that works, I'll leave the electronic monitoring that was originally there in place. Okay?
Thank you very much, Judge. Appreciate it.
Okay. Either or. Okay? Yes, one or the other. One or the other. Either he's going to have a GPS or he's going to post a bond. She's trying to call Dennis to find out if Dennis will let him live there. So let's do that. We've still got some others to do. We might have an answer before we go off the record, okay?
Beautiful. Thank you,
All right.
Judge.
Okay. Did we do Mr. Mitchum John? We did, right?
Yes.
Okay. And then let's see what else we have. We did, have we, Andrea Murray? Did we do that case?
Not yet.
Hold on, Your Honor.
Thank you. Miss Murray, hello. Sorry to keep you waiting.
It's all right.
So where do we stand on Miss Murray?
Your Honor, the state has filed an information and the charges were filed as presented.
Okay. So Miss Murray, unfortunately, for you, the charges have actually been filed, so you will not be released on your own recognizance, and they were filed as originally charged as a carjacking. So everything that all the original bonds were going to remain in place, and you'll be held in custody unless you can meet those bond amounts, okay?
Right.
All right, good luck to you, ma'am. Okay. How about Leo Rivera? Where's Leo Rivera?
Conte, Your Honor.
Conte, thank you so much. Mr. Rivera, good afternoon. Sorry to keep you waiting. We need to find out from the state whether charges have been filed.
Information has been filed, Judge, and the charges were filed as presented.
All right, so Mr. Rivera, your motion for release on your own recognizance is denied because the state has filed information against you. And the charges stand of a domestic battery by strangulation and a misdemeanor battery. So whatever the bonds were before will remain in place, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, take care, sir. Okay, then we have, did we do Brandon Ben David? We did, okay. Is that everyone on the docket?
I just have Eric
Watson? Okay,
Eric
Schwartz.
Suarez Triana.
Okay, Suarez Triana on page 6 of the docket. Where's Eric? Main jail?
I'll check.
No. Paul Ryan? Conti? North Broward? No one's there.
He should be at Conti.
Should be at Conti. Is someone still at Conti?
I have two still in
Okay,
contact.
thank you. So we'll start with Eric Suarez Triera.
Ma'am, I don't have that
Okay.
on the
So
docket at all.
who do you have there?
Go
Mr.
ahead,
Watson?
Senna.
Mr. Watson?
Mr.
Okay,
Cornelius.
we'll take care of Mr. Watson right now.
And,
He's on page 2 and pages 5.
and Your Honor, I guess the two options at this point, I just spoke with case filing. There's an issue, there was an issue of word processing, so they're correcting it now to file the information on 18-10923 CF10A. If the court is not inclined to put this case briefly on recall, I'd ask that it be reset for tomorrow. If I can present to the court.
Well, what are we at the 33rd day?
It's, by my count, it's the 32nd day since his
Okay.
first appearance, Judge.
And I do have the authority to extend that time period for good cause.
Yes, ma'am, up to the 33rd. As you can see, Your Honor, he was originally arrested on August 26th. But as you can see, he had his first appearance on these charges, and these are add charges. You can see it starts with count number 10, and the case number is written on top. So his time on that case, on this case, would start to run from August 30th. And counting from August 30th, today would be the 32nd day.
Am I correct, Mr. Linder, that Mr. Watson is also being held no bond on violation of probation matters?
That is correct also.
So I don't know that it would necessarily be in Mr. Watson's best interest to be ROR'd on these charges anyway, because then he would no longer be eligible to accumulate credit for time served.
And there were, and frankly, just to let you know, there were two other cases that I was gonna have no objection to the court RORing him on, but I don't know if you wanna, based on that, if you wanna waive, you know.
Do you need to speak to Mr. Watson for a moment?
Yeah, let me give him a call, Judge.
Mr. Watson, your attorney wants to talk to you for a moment, but given the circumstances in the state's indication to me that these charges are being filed and they're in word processing right now, I would extend the time period for good cause shown regarding
Looks
the
like you got some no bond holds.
burglary
So you're not going.
case.
Yeah, and just, for record purposes, Your Honor, I'm only referring to 18, could you answer that, 10923.
10923.
I'm not gonna have anything filed by today, or frankly, even tomorrow, on 10434 or 10924. What was what you say? And yeah, Your Honor, they just, our e-filing just got the paperwork. They're gonna be e-filing it now.
Okay, well, let me skip, because Mr. Reedy needs to hear what you're
Sure.
saying, so let's go ahead and, is there anyone, who's the gentleman at the podium right now, sir? What's your name?
Marlon Turner.
It's a second look on a misdemeanor.
Mr. Turner. I don't have Mr. Turner on my list, do I?
You should have a misdemeanor docket also.
Oh, I see it, okay. And what's the circumstances with Mr. Turner? This is a second look, okay. I'll let you finish. We can go, we can take a brief moment. I want, Mr. Reedy, I don't wanna, cause you to have to do two things at one time. You need to speak to Mr. Watson and give him your undivided attention. Mr. Turner, if you'll just give us a moment, we'll be right with you, okay?
Okay, no problem.
All right, I'm gonna go off the record for just a brief moment.
10923 is being filed right now, actually.
All right, so we're back on Mr. Watson.
Yes, Your Honor, I had an opportunity to speak with Mr. Watson and to Mr. Linder, and it appears that we are in the following position. I believe that Mr. Watson is entitled to be released on his own recognizance on case 18010924 CF10A and 18010434 CF10A, and I would ask that he be ROR'd on on those two cases. As far as case number 18010923 is concerned, I understand the state is seeking some additional time, or it's being filed as we speak. I would object for the record to the court granting the state any more time. It's a rather academic issue, as Mr. Watson has a number of violation of probation holds that are keeping him in custody without bond.
And also, Mr. Linder had indicated that we're technically not at the deadline because this would be the 32nd day.
That is correct. Also, Your Honor, and if the court finds this satisfactory, Your Honor, I can, as an officer of the court, I just got off the phone with Jacqueline Edmonds. She's a support staff supervisor, and she handles our e-filing. She's advised me she has e-filed the information to the clerk. She's just waiting on getting a filing number back from the clerk's e-filing at the clerk's office.
All right, I find that the state has met its burden regarding the filing of Mr. Watson's case in 18-10923 CF10A within the timeframes prescribed, this being the 32nd day and the matters being e-filed as we speak. On the other two matters, the state concedes that he's entitled to a release on his own recognizance because those cases have yet to be filed.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and he's being held no bond on a different violation of probation, yes?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, very good. So, sir, we're gonna go ahead and take care of the administrative paperwork. The one case that's being filed, the bonds will remain in place. The other two will show as a release on your own recognizance. You will not be receiving credit for time served on those two cases, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, good luck to you, sir. All right, and then going back to Mr. Turner. Mr. Turner, good afternoon. Sorry, I apologize for going back and forth on you like that.
Oh, no problem.
You are here for a second look on a I'm sorry, I didn't get a chance to read your case. I didn't realize it was on the docket today. What is he charged with?
It's actually a VOP, Your Honor, and I'm checking.
It's a VOP? Why would he be on a second look? Did he have a monetary bond on the VOP?
No, it's a no bond on the VOP. He was arrested September 7th originally. So frankly, I'm checking to see what the administrative order says. I don't know why he hasn't been brought before the county court judge for a violation of probation hearing yet.
Even have a court date set on the violation of probation, and it's
Yeah. And when
possession of marijuana.
what I'm checking the administrative order for is, it was out of, he was on probation at a South Satellite. So I'm checking to see how, if the administrative order addresses who he should be getting the case reassigned to another judge.
Give us a moment, Mr. Turner. We're working on it.
Okay.
The allegation violating his
it-
probation is that he didn't perform community service hours, and he's
Brian.
$50 behind. No?
No, that was the allegations on the warrant. The reason he's being held no bond is when he was arrested on new charges of grand theft auto, resisting without violence, 3 counts of grand theft, and fleeing and eluding law enforcement. That formed the basis of a 94806 violation of probation, and that's what he's being held no bond on, Your Honor.
Okay. But we still, for just administrative purposes, however, need to deal with this MN40A case that's on the docket for today. And if he hasn't had a hearing scheduled, get it scheduled before someone, yeah?
He should have been brought, frankly, the next day before Judge Pohl, and that's where his case should be heard. It says, on anyone arrested on a misdemeanor.
I pulled up that case number and it says it's a Judge Gottlieb case.
No, Judge Gottlieb signed the warrant for Judge, have they already transferred it to him?
I see, according to the clerk's computer, it's assigned to Judge Gottlieb.
Okay, I mean, then I would. guess because he signed the warrant, they just assigned the case to him.
Because it was from a satellite?
It was, yeah, he was on probation, he was placed on probation by Judge Miller in South Satellite.
Okay. So, sir, that doesn't appear that I can do anything for you today because you're being held on a violation of probation. Did the violation say he was to be it's a no bond?
The warrant was an ROR when Judge Gottlieb signed it.
Okay.
When he got arrested on new felony offenses, and those new felony offenses form the basis of a warrantless violation of probation.
Okay.
And he's being held no. So it's weird, but he's being held ROR and no bond.
So at a minimum, what we can do, we can accomplish today is at least getting his case to Judge Gottlieb's office to have it placed on one of Judge Gottlieb's dockets.
Absolutely.
Okay. So can the clerk take care of doing that for us? We need to enter, Mr. Reedy, can you do me an order, just the directions to the clerk of court to obtain an expedited hearing before Judge Gottlieb on this matter so that can be dealt with? Okay. All right, so Mr. Turner, there's not much I can do for you today other than just try and get you a hearing date in front of your assigned judge. You're being held no bond, and therefore there's nothing I can really do for you, okay?
Okay.
All right, I'm sorry to have kept you so long and not being able to accomplish much, but we will get you in front of Judge Gottlieb soon, all right?
Okay.
All right, take care of you, sir. All right, and I believe that's the entire docket except for Mr. Vento, which I said I would go back to.
And also Mr. Hewitt.
Okay. All right, let's go back to the main jail. Mr. Vento, I've had an opportunity to consider your argument and your pleas to the court for some mercy on this matter, but these are my concerns. My concerns are that irrespective of what you're telling me about the car not being operative and or that you weren't driving and that you don't have a driver's license, that car got there somehow. And according to your other case that you have pending, that you have a hearing date coming up on, it was a similar circumstance where my concern is the safety of the community. I find it difficult to believe that your car's been sitting there for that period of time and that it's not operable. It appears that it is operable, at least from my concern. This is your second arrest in a short period of time, and I'm going to go ahead at this time and decline your request. And I'm sorry, sir. You made a good argument, but it just, in the totality of the circumstances, I believe that the community is better served with me violating. Sir, I'm not going to have an argument with you on it. I've given it an opportunity. I gave you an opportunity to be heard. It was very compelling, but when I put everything together and read your other probable cause affidavit, I believe that it's in the community's best interest for me to go ahead and revoke your bond on case number 189474 CF10A. And the $500 bond will remain on the DUI. Take care of yourself, sir.
Well, in 8 days, ma'am.
Well, you can talk to the judge on October 9th and see where you stand there. But at this juncture, I don't believe that it's in the.
I'm gonna
There's
lose
nothing.
my
There's
home,
nothing
ma'am.
I can do about it, sir. Good luck to you, sir.
The keys.
I'm
keys
done.
weren't
I'm
even
done.
in the car. I was sleeping, ma'am. I was sleeping.
I understand that, sir.
I was sleeping in the car.
I understand that, sir. Good luck to you.
And you get a DUI when you're sleeping.
Sir, please don't argue with me. I've made my decision. And then we have some information, Mr. Romero, regarding your client and his release on the Elmo. Have we reached his brother?
I reached his brother, Your Honor. Yeah, you can leave the Elmo.
Okay, his brother's gonna, we're all set to go on him, so we'll go ahead and I'll just vacate my original order or tear it up on Mr. Is it Mr. Hewitt?
Yes.
Mr. Hewitt, and he'll be released to his brother on the electronic monitoring. His brother's home, okay?
Thank you very much, Judge.
Okay, anything else from anyone? We all done?
No,
Oh, wait, hang on, Mr.
My only concern is I know they said they don't have him at Conti.
Oh, there is someone that's still supposed to be on Conti. So you want to just reset him for tomorrow? Or do you want me to try and call Conti and see if we can get him?
I mean,
It's a second look?
It's a second look, so whatever. What is it?
There was one gentleman that wasn't brought to Conti. Mr. Romero, you're free to go. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap up for you. It was wonderful to see you as always.
Same here, Judge.
All right, take care. All right. Okay, we'll put him on the tomorrow. All right, so that takes care of our docket today? All right, thank you, everyone. I appreciate everyone's help this afternoon.
that order for you to sign, and if I could just have one moment to finish.
Oh, I'll